One thing that's always set Nintendo apart from other video game companies are their franchise's spectacular soundtracks that have produced some of the most memorable melodies of all time. From Super Mario Bros. For the NES, and all the way until Bowser's Fury on the Switch, Nintendo really hasn't skipped a beat in this particular series, which leads me into creating today's video about the best song in every Mario game. Now, there's no way I could literally go through every single game, as technically there's over 200 titles with Mario's name attached. So for this one, I'm just going to look at the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, but if there is some want for me out there to branch out and look at others, then let me know in the comments below. Also, I'm not claiming to be a music expert or a great musician, so most of these will be a pretty basic breakdown, saying why I love each song. Oh yeah, and by the way, before I get started, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet, then please subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. One thing that really cemented the original Super Mario Bros. In everyone's memory is its main theme, which would eventually become the song most associated with the mustachioed main character. Of the 6 tracks found throughout the game, the theme by far took the longest to develop, as its composer, Koji Kondo, wanted the music to fit perfectly with the gameplay. With direction from the creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, Kondo was able to perfectly sync the player's movements and button presses with the beat of the music, making the experience much more enjoyable. Nintendo knew that this would be the song that everyone heard the most, as it shows up right away in World 1-1, so it had to be great. My personal favorite song from this game has to be the Underground theme, as it really gives off the feel that you're exploring a dark and mysterious cave full of enemies. Now, of course, I have to mention one more thing, and that's the song that plays when you collect a star and turn into Invincible Mario. This tune instantly became a staple of the franchise, appearing in basically every game on this list and in most spin-off titles. Super Mario Bros. 2 is a bit of an anomaly in the series, as its original Japanese version was deemed too similar to the first and too hard for Western audiences, so instead, a game called Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic was reskinned to be released in North America. Although, it's not like this title was far removed from the Mario series, as it was developed by Nintendo alongside Shigeru Miyamoto from a tech demo that experimented with vertical scrolling and picking up enemies and items. I don't think Nintendo realized the future influence this title would have, including its soundtrack, which really wasn't changed much from Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panics, which is a surprise as almost every song seems to fit perfectly in the Mario realm. I think the 2 best melodies from this game are its overworld theme and the song that plays during the character select, which are both fantastic and brings back great memories of playing this entry with my sisters. The next game in the series is Super Mario Bros. 3, which was released for the NES in North America in 1990. This game really diversified its types of songs, with lead composer Koji Kondo basing the music even more on what he believed fit the level, rather than focusing on a single genre. His approach is definitely shown throughout the game, as the music transitions from very groovy and mellow in World 1, to very dark, menacing, and scary in World 8. Those 2 worlds by far have the best overworld themes, but I also have to give a shout out to the song that plays during the boss battles, as it really gives you a sense of urgency that you need to defeat these foes before they defeat you. One thing I was always impressed with in Nintendo's first handheld foray in the franchise, Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, was how amazing the music in the game sounded, even though it only came out of a small speaker in the system. I think it's no surprise that most people consider World 1's theme the best in this game, as it has a very upbeat, whimsical tune. Longtime Nintendo composer, Hirokazu Tanaka, was in charge of this game's soundtrack and did a wonderful job, especially due to the limitations the Game Boy imposed on development. I also have to mention this game's Invincibility song, as it's very different than any other in the series, sounding a lot like Can You Do the Can Can by famous composer Offenbach. With the release of the Super Nintendo in 1991, Nintendo could now add 16-bit music into their titles, which led to much higher quality songs. This is definitely seen in Super Mario World's soundtrack, as it's much more fleshed out than in past entries, leading to some of the most iconic songs in the franchise. Other than the main theme that always reminded me of the old American tune Yankee Doodle, my favorite songs in this game include the creepy Forest of Illusion theme that sounds like it belongs in a Zelda title, the castle theme that always brought back the feeling of terror to me, and finally, the bonus screen theme that made me feel like I was on a game show straight out of the 1980s. Now, the true Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2 wasn't released in North America until it was packaged alongside Super Mario All-Stars for the SNES in 1993, now called The Lost Levels. Because the original Japanese version just used the same soundtrack as Super Mario Bros. 1, a new theme was created for this refurbished Lost Levels game, which is definitely misleading as it's extremely mellow and calm, very unlike the title's gameplay. Other than a few minor changes to the soundtrack, this is really the only game's new song, which is disappointing because fans definitely would have enjoyed more. The next handheld game in the series is Super Mario Land 2: The 6 Golden Coins, which was released for the Game Boy in 1992. This game was scored by a new Nintendo composer at the time, Kazumi Totaka, which would turn out to be his only venture in the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. I'd have to say the track that sticks out the most is the athletic theme, that plays right away in the first level. This is a very different sounding tune than what was heard in previous games, but it still captures the essence of a Mario adventure. I'd have to say, however, this is my least favorite collection of songs in the franchise, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. The only other thing from this game I want to mention is the small melody that can be heard if you wait a really long time on the game over screen. This is a little Easter egg that's now known as Totaka's song. The next game in the series, Super Mario 64 for the N64, was really a revolutionary game as the 64-bit specs of the console allowed for 3D graphics and much crisper sound. I think the song most associated with this game has to be the Bob-omb Battlefield theme, which really has sort of a marching band sound, with Kondo once again perfectly syncing the player's movements and inputs with the music. Another song from this game that brings back fond memories is called Inside the Castle Walls, which is a very slow, string-based melody invoking that you're in a grand hall of someone who is royal. However, the song that's my most favorite and shows up during many great moments later on in the series is Slider, which you first hear when you discover the princess's secret slide through Peach's stained glass window. The melody is played with a harmonica and the counter melody with a whistle, banjo, bass, and drums, in a very frantic style that fits perfectly with the gameplay. The next game in the series is Super Mario Sunshine, that was released for the GameCube in 2002 and takes place on the tropical Delfino Isle. This is definitely heard in the Delfino Plaza theme, as it gives off extreme island vibes in an Italian folk music style. This is a very different sounding theme in the series, and fits with this game's outlier theme, mainly due to the flood and island hopping setting. Because of this uniqueness, there really isn't a bad song on the soundtrack, but there is one that's my favorite in the music that plays when you come across the game's secret courses. That's because this is a remixed version of Mario's original theme, where the song's percussion is replaced by finger snapping, and a choir is humming the main melody. Although the music makes it seem like this would be a pretty easy area, it's definitely misleading as these courses are incredibly frustrating. Nintendo returned to Mario's 2D platforming roots with New Super Mario Bros. Released for the Nintendo DS in 2006. This game brought back old songs from the franchise, remixing and remastering many of the classic tunes. Of course, the main theme, or athletic theme as it's called in this game, is the best on the soundtrack, which is a song that reappears in every new Super Mario Bros. Title, although altered in some form. This theme feels like it fits perfectly as the main Mario anthem, with the really cute touch of enemies dancing every time a specific part of the song plays. The next 3D game in the series is Super Mario Galaxy, that came out for the Nintendo Wii in 2007. The theme song for this game is extremely epic. As you can tell, Nintendo went all out to ensure the music was as grand as the stellar gameplay. This is really unlike anything that had been heard previously in any Mario game, as composers Koji Kondo and Mahito Yokota decided to use a symphony orchestra which somehow perfectly encapsulates the game's outer space setting. Now, my favorite song from Super Mario Galaxy has to be the ball rolling melody that plays when you're on top of a star ball, trying to maneuver towards the end of the level. The faster you roll, the faster the song plays, which is a nice touch as it makes things feel much riskier. Now, I really can't skim over the fact that when I put up a poll asking my subscribers what their favorite song was, a large portion of people said the theme from the Gusty Garden Galaxy was hands down the best. That might be due to the fact that most people, including myself, feel like it's really the unofficial theme of this first Galaxy game. In all honesty, now that I think about it, it does sound like a really common Mario song, and is probably why it's so memorable. I won't lie to you guys in saying that when I first heard the new Super Mario Bros. Wii Overworld theme, I was a bit disappointed as it's almost identical to the DS version with just very small minor changes. I really did find this game's title theme much more enjoyable to listen to, but that might be because I've heard the Overworld theme so many times throughout my video making adventures that I'm just sick of it. However, I'd have to say my favorite song from this game is the Special Zone theme, as it has a very upbeat and playful melody, making you feel like you're in a secretive area. If you thought the music in the first Super Mario Galaxy game was amazing, then when the second installment was released for the Wii in 2010, if you're like me, then you were probably blown away. The overture song is much more upbeat, while still retaining the synthy space sound that made the first so great. A favorite song of mine is the one that plays in the Supermassive Galaxy, which is a very funky remix of the original theme, which is perfect for this setting, as this level contains many series staple enemies, albeit in gigantic form. This game's soundtrack really is fantastic, so much so that I have to hold back on mentioning every single song, but one I do want to showcase is called Boomsday, that plays in Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker. This level is a boss fight against the Boomsday Machine, which is a castle-like boss equipped with fire bars and cannons, making this a very tricky battle. The music definitely adds to the suspense as it's in a quick tempo, making you feel like you have to rush. Nintendo's next handheld Mario adventure is Super Mario 3D Land, that was released for the 3DS in 2011. This title perfectly incorporates all the greatest aspects of the franchise in 2D and 3D entries, from level design to enemies, and of course the music. This is apparent right away with the game's title screen song, as it sounds like a mixture of the overworld theme from New Super Mario Bros. 2, Bob-omb Battlefield from Super Mario 64, and the World 1 theme from Super Mario Bros. 3. However, my favorite song in this game has to be the one that plays in the beat block levels. These blocks phase in and out of existence, and this is synced perfectly with the music. Just watch and listen. If you've been watching my channel for quite a while, then you'll probably know that New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS is by far my least favorite in the franchise, as it failed to bring anything new to the table, which really disappointed me upon its release. The only two songs off the soundtrack that I feel are worth talking about are the Tower Boss theme, as it reminds me of the boss fights from Super Mario World, and the Rainbow theme, which for some reason reminds me of a few minigames from the Mario Party series. At least Nintendo quickly saved the New Super Mario Bros. Series with their next release on the Wii U in 2012. Other than the title theme, my favorite tune from this game is Rock Candy Mines, that somehow makes me feel like I'm working hard in a mine sometime during the 1800s. The drums in this song, mixed with the piano, flute, and guitar, fit together perfectly in this level setting. Another very unique song in this game is the one that plays during the staff credits, which I'm only going to mention as it's very unique sounding and really unlike anything I've heard in the franchise. One of my favorite games in the series is Super Mario 3D World, which is the spiritual successor to Super Mario 3D Land. However, this version was released for the Wii U. I really do find the title screen theme to be fun to listen to, but it's the World 1 theme that's been stuck in my head since the game's release, where I've hummed it so much around the house I've heard my mom doing the same the other day. A song from this game that many of my subscribers commented that they loved is Double Cherry Pass, which actually has some similar elements to the World 1 theme, but is more upbeat and faster paced. I just want to note the song that plays in the final Champions Road level, as it's a remix of the Gusty Garden theme from Super Mario Galaxy, which just sounds amazing in this game. I wasn't going to mention Super Mario Run in this video, but the game actually has one incredible song that can be heard during the Remix 10 game mode. For those of you who may not know, Remix 10 is the hardest song from the Rhythm Heaven Fever game, which was developed by Nintendo SP&D that also created Super Mario Run. The remix here is of course of old Mario songs, but now with a disco electronic dance feel. Of all the songs in this video, I'd have to say this one slaps the hardest. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that the best song in Super Mario Odyssey is Jump Up Superstar, which is really the first Mario tune to actually feature lyrics, which is something Nintendo has been experimenting with in recent years. On top of that, it appears in the game during an amazing sequence where Mayor Pauline is throwing a festival in New Donk City, and you have to reach the party by traversing through a cool original Donkey Kong inspired area. Another song that's actually become the unofficial theme to this game is Fossil Falls, that can be heard first in the Cascade Kingdom. Although there are so many great tracks that I literally could talk about them all day, but sadly I don't have time, I really did enjoy the Steam Gardens theme that's heard throughout the Wooded Kingdom. The melody sounds light and airy, but is distorted to sound computeristic, if that's even a word. Now, I know Bowser's Fury isn't technically a Super Mario title, but I wanted to include it as it's honestly the only Mario content we've received in a few years. This game's theme leans quite obviously on the heavy metal genre, where the sound gets harder and darker the farther you progress through each Bowser phase. The final showdown theme follows the same pattern in its dark feel, adding a gothic style choir to up the intensity. These really aren't the most catchy songs in the franchise, but are definitely memorable for being so intense. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. I know that I couldn't include every single song that I wanted to, but that definitely leaves things open for a second video, so let me know in the comments below if you want that. Also, I do have an Instagram at Copycat Gamer, where I upload some cool clips and items from my collection that you won't see anywhere else. I hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.